Thank you. Thanks for coming. Always great to see you. It means, of course, we're getting close to getting started here, and we're 10 days out from an exhibition game against Wartburg, and it's a great time of year for us. I got some comments that I'll make, and then, as Nick mentioned, take some questions. Appreciate the staff being here today and filling up the back of the room there. It's great to see everybody over here. Appreciate Kevin and his staff putting together the things that they always do. And then you guys for coming, covering all of our teams. For us right now, as I said, getting started is it's an awesome time of year for us. But your coverage of all of our teams is important to what we do. So I want to thank all of you for being here and for what you do all year round. We are in about 2.5 weeks into this process for us and putting together. It's a daily deal for us right now, and I think that's why it's so much fun for us to be started, as we get to see the guys pretty much on a daily basis as we're putting this together. And as we do every year, the process is about putting together a championship level team. And this year's process is no different. In 2.5 weeks, what has happened and what have we learned so far? A couple things individually are Wyatt Lohaus is in tremendous shape. He's healthy. He had spent the better part of the last 2 years where he's been banged up with a couple of different injuries, and he is healthy right now. As I mentioned, he is in great shape. He has practiced very well. One of the areas where he has taken some steps forward is in terms of his communication. And as our most experienced player, his voice is very important to who we are. It's very important to what we do on the practice floor. It will be very important to how we develop our team is why it's continued communication and his leadership. A.J. Green, Trey Burrow, Biggie Goldman, three of our new guys. I tell you, A.J. Green has got a tremendous work ethic, his competitiveness, his discipline, his determination. Those things are all at an extremely high level, and he is a terrific player. But what I have found out, and obviously known him for a long, long time, but what I have found out being around him every day is he has earned every bit of it. The success he's had in high school, the level of player that he is right now, he has earned every single bit of that, and it's been fun to be around. It's had a positive impact on his teammates already. Just love his competitiveness. Trey and Biggie are both great fits for what we're doing, for what we want to do. I think, as we all know, the college game has changed. The game of basketball has changed. The versatile, undersized guys that are playing small forward, power forward, center, those positions has made for a very different game. And Biggie and Trey fit into that for us. And so both of those guys have been important. Trey's got a lot of versatility. He's got good size. Biggie is almost 6'10", very skilled, and both of those guys, as I mentioned, going to be important to what we do. And the thing about all three of those guys that's got us excited is they're playing at a fairly high level. They don't know a lot right now, but they're playing at a fairly high level. But what they'll be like in 2 weeks, what they'll be like in 4 weeks, what they'll be like 6 weeks from now. Just feel like all three of those guys are going to get better and better here early on in their careers. Spencer and Isaiah, guys that have played for us quite a bit, ready to increase their roles, ready to take on more responsibility. Spencer has been important in terms of scoring the basketball for us, but I tell you, he's got a little bit of an edge to him. And for the group that we've got right now, Spencer letting that be part of what he's doing every day, allowing that to have an impact on our team. So his personality and the edge that he plays with, filters through our team, and that we've got a team that can reflect some of that. As Spencer has gotten to the point now as a redshirt junior, that's something that we're going to need out of him. And Isaiah, and I've talked about him quite a bit at times in the past, and he showed a year ago his ability defensively, and in particular late in the year, and I think everybody probably remembers the performance he had against Evansville defensively. Some of the games that I've watched recently, that was one of them, and the impact that he had on that basketball game, the job that he did on Ryan Taylor in that game, is something that Isaiah and I have talked about a lot. And he's looking forward to that challenge as we head into this year of being our best defensive player. We've talked to him about finding a way to be on the all-defensive team in our league, getting in contention for Defensive Player of the Year. Those are things that he should be thinking about. We also feel like it's important that he doesn't limit his improvement, his development, his next step, if you will, that he doesn't limit it to the defensive end of the floor. He's a very talented young man, and so him expanding his game offensively, allowing his versatility to impact what we're doing as a team. So we've got we've got a lot of things on his plate right now, but feel like he's ready to take those things on. Luke McDonald, Justin Dahl, Miles Wenseen, Lincoln Connery, all four of those guys as returners have gotten better. All four of them are playing as well as they have played in their time here. Luke is a skilled inside guy for us, and we've seen some of Luke the past couple years. I know he's excited to earn some more time and to be a bigger part of the rotation, and he is playing right now as well as he has played in his time with us. Justin Dahl, he just brings a different feel to things. He's got size that you don't see very often. At 7 foot and 255 pounds is a guy that simply with that size able to make a difference in how the game feels. And he is in the best shape that he's been in. He's had his best practices here in the last 4 or 5 days and has really made some good strides. Miles is, I think all the guys would tell you, if you ask them when you go down there, I think they would all tell you that he is a favorite of all of theirs. And he's an easy guy to like, an easy guy to root for. Works extremely hard, and I'd be surprised if he doesn't find a way into our rotation in some way, shape, or form. And then Lincoln Connery is he could be the most improved guy from a year ago until right now. His athleticism has changed tremendously. He's shooting the ball very well. Just put in a lot of time, a lot of work. He's worked hard on his body, and really proud of Lincoln for the changes he's made. A couple team observations with the roster that we've got. Our offense is going to look different. We will the pace of play for us will look different. Will be different. This roster is better built to do that. Make some of the changes that I briefly referred to in terms of the game. I think we've all seen it, where you've got a lot of times you've got 4 guards on the floor and you've got a center on the floor. More times than not right now, that center is pretty skilled. So you're able to do more things in transition. You're able to do more things in moving the ball side to side. We've got a number of guys on this roster that fit that. So offensively, we've practiced differently. We feel like we're going to look different at that end of the floor in terms of increasing the pace of play. Defensively, we've got a lot to learn. Anytime you've got a number of new guys on your roster, boy, there's a lot of things that go into being a good defensive team. And so there's a lot of learning going on right now at the defensive end of the floor. And as much as the game has changed, and we've had some different stretches in practice where we've seen it, and it almost gets going up and down so fast it feels a little bit like a pickup game. And I want to pull my hair out just a little bit, but so far it's the change on the offensive end has been good. But what we can tell you from our staff standpoint, at the defensive end of the floor is where championships are won, and just because the game has changed a lot in the last 20 years, 10 years, in the last 3 years even, we don't feel like the road to a championship has changed. And in terms of being a team at the defensive end of the floor that can hold down the fort. And so we'll continue to hammer away at that defensive end of the floor. The other, just a couple more things. The other 3 things we're talking to this group a lot about, and I think in large part because this roster is made up of guys, and look, tremendously skilled, and guys that are easy to like, and guys that are working extremely hard. There's a lot of reasons for us as a staff to look forward to getting to practice and being on the practice floor with these guys. And but 3 things that we are talking to them quite a bit about is the process. And when you're young, when you're new, and there's so many things that you've got to learn, sometimes that gets in the way of playing really hard. And we aren't at the point yet where we've been able to combine the two. Being able to be where we're supposed to be, having a great understanding of how to do that individually and as a team, and competing at the highest level that we're capable of. You hope to get to that point as soon as you can. When you get to that point, you then have an opportunity as an individual to impact your teammates and impact what's going on around you. So the sooner you can get guys to that point, the better. And right now we're still with quite a few guys. We're still in that first part of the process where a lot of things are new, and it interrupts sometimes just playing as hard as you can possibly play. So we're going to keep working on that part of it. Accountability is another area that we've stressed a lot, and really narrowing it all the way down to personal accountability. When something doesn't go quite right, which is going to happen quite a bit when you're new and when you're learning. When it doesn't go quite right, working to move on to what the solution is and figuring out how we're going to do it better next time. And not having your first thought be it was someone else's fault or am I to blame? Who's to blame for what happened? From an accountability standpoint, we want our guys to, you're going to make mistakes, and we want them to understand that it doesn't have to be anyone's fault. We need to figure out what the solution is. We need to figure it out fast. We need to move on to the next play, and that can be difficult when you're younger and there's so many things being thrown at you. And then the last one's, working through some adversity. And ours, to this point has been putting them at a disadvantage in some drills on the practice court, and But this group has got we've got some work to do here. Being able to fight through some things, whether that is in the half court defending a ball screen and getting a rebound and finishing off a possession and being able to do it 4 out of 5 times. Start to run up and down, and as soon as you do, forget about what you're supposed to do, guarding your own guy, getting to a help position, blocking somebody out. Putting them at a disadvantage in a drill where they've got a lot more to do to win a drill than the team does on offense. Just finding some different ways to put them in that position, where we can create some adversity for them and helping them understand, how to best handle that. And we've got some work to do there. Most of it to do with, again, having some young guys, having some new guys. It doesn't take away from what I've mentioned. Having a roster full of guys that are highly skilled and we feel like going to be a lot of fun to watch. Last couple things, and then I'll open it up for questions. Trey Croft will not be down on the floor today. Trey is suspended from all team activities at this time, so you will not see him down on the floor. Austin Fife will be down there. Austin, for about 5 weeks now, has been in and out of practice a little bit. He's been to practice and he's been around, dealing with some health issues not related to a basketball injury at all. If Austin wants to talk some more about that, he can. He's doing okay health-wise. His health is not in any jeopardy. They feel like they've got it pinpointed. But I'll let, if you want to ask Austin a little bit more about it, you can do that when you go down there. But he's been in and out of practice because of the health issue. Taiwan is, I think some of you may have read or seen, Ty had foot surgery just about 6, I think Friday will be 6 weeks. He's about 2 weeks away from being cleared if everything continues to go well. His rehab has been good. He's worked extremely hard on his conditioning, everything that he's able to do with the injury and with coming back from the surgery he's been doing. But he's, like I said, he's about 2 weeks away from being cleared. And then about 10 days ago, we had our walk-on tryout, and we've added 3 guys through our walk-on tryout. Those guys will be down there today. Donovan Holterhouse from Pella High School. Donovan's a sophomore. Malik Haynes from Kennedy. Malik's a sophomore as well. And then Court Christensen, who's a senior from Belmont Clemmy, and he was at Nyack before he came here. So those 3 young guys will be down there as well. Yeah, with that, I would take your questions. Thanks again for being here today. Yeah.
He does.
Yep.
How much of that is the injury to Pittsburgh, what's going on with Croft, and how much of that is just this kid's a rare talent?
He is, I think, mostly what he's done and what he's already earned, even though he hasn't done it in a game for us yet. He's proven through our workouts, summer workouts, when we've got the guys in June and July. He's done it all fall. He's done it in our early practices, and so he's earned the right to be that guy and be that guy from day one, and he's going to be. He's a talented young guy. It isn't that he doesn't have good athleticism. He's got very good size for that position. At almost 6'4", playing that point guard position puts him in a little different category than most point guards. He's got good length. His quickness is good. His speed is good. So it isn't that he doesn't have some of those physical tools, and some of those things are certainly an advantage for him. But what sets him apart is his work ethic. He's got I mentioned it, his commitment to a daily routine, the decisions that he makes, the discipline that he has, with how he approaches everything he does each day that he gets up I'm telling you guys, it's impressive, and that's why he's in the position he's in right now. Maybe it'd be a year from now, maybe 2 years from now. It was going to come at some point for him, but the reason he's ready right now is because of his competitiveness, his work ethic, and how he approaches things every day. He has grown up a part of this, of course. So he's seen all of our teams, and he's been to most of the games, and he's been to the NCAA tournaments, and he knows what that feels like, and he wants to be a part of that as a player. He wants to be able to be part of a championship team, and be part of a championship team right now, and be part of a team that plays in the NCAA tournament, and a team that does that right now. And a lot of that motivation comes from growing up with our program, and also helps on the other side of it, him being around here so much. Comes in with a great relationship with his teammates, and they're understanding that he is a terrific player, but he's here to be a great teammate. He's here to help our team do well. He isn't here to do his own thing, and our guys already understand that. We haven't had to meet about that. We haven't had to talk about that. So AJ, coming out of today, is probably going to get talked about a lot, and he's going to get a lot of interviews, and he's going to be in the paper, and he should be, because he's worked really hard and he's already earned it, even though he hasn't played a game, as I mentioned. But his teammates, they know why he's here. That he wants to win, and he wants to be part of a championship team and do everything that he can to help us do that as soon as possible. The challenges will, like they do with a lot of new guys, a lot of young guys will come at the defensive end of the floor. In high school, whether it's AJ or Taiwan, recently coming in as a freshman, Biggie is a new junior college guy. Even Trey Burrow, a guy who started for Pepperdine last year and played a lot of minutes, averaged 10, 11 points, 5 or 6 rebounds, had a very good freshman year. When you're in your first year, that defensive end of the floor is tricky. You're expected and held accountable for things that you haven't been held accountable for, and sometimes with very good reason. There's no reason that AJ or Taiwan or some of the other freshmen in our program or others need to be as physical and defend at the level that you do right now. Would have had to do that when you're in high school, for the most part. And that isn't to suggest that those guys don't play hard defensively, that AJ doesn't understand how important defense was to winning a state championship. But individually, being held accountable and having the expectation of how you have to defend at this level to have success, it's different, and that takes time. Now offensively, he puts immediate pressure on the other team. When he's coming, as soon as he crosses half court and he's coming with that basketball, there's immediate pressure on the other team. And that's one of the reasons why we feel like he can have success early, because of the amount of pressure he can put on the defense. And then he can do it in different ways. He can do it off the dribble. He can do it going left or right. He can run off screens. The catch and shoot, his in-between game. He's worked hard at getting to the basket. But he's got so many things about his offensive game right now that are advanced for a young guy. Those are things that we feel like he's going to be able to bring to the table right away.
With Trey Burrow, is there a player you've had in the past that his game would resemble somewhat?
Oh boy. I get any help from the guys back there by any chance? Trey Burrow's game, is that anybody we've had or played against that it resembles? So I don't have to think very hard. I thought I was just going to read my prepared notes and get out of here. He's 6'5". If the guy's thinking one, you can throw it at me. He's 6'5". He's 210 pounds. He's really active. Rebounds both ends of the floor.
Eric
Eric Crawford. He shoots it way better than Croft did. He doesn't quite have Eric's versatility yet. Defensively and handling the ball and some of those things that Eric did. In terms of activity and having the size and strength and the ability to rebound in traffic, and do it against good players and high-level teams. He's shown those things already, and his catch and shoot is really good. He can really knock it in, and he gets it up high, a little bit like Mark Sonnen, where he pulls that ball up high, and it's hard to get to it, especially at his size at almost 6'5". It's hard to distract him. It's hard to distract his vision or that shot, impact that shot. So, he shoots it a little bit like Mark did. He's just got a bigger, stronger body, and like I said, right now he's right in between. And it could happen tomorrow. It could happen in a week. Maybe it'll take 3 weeks. I don't know. But we're very confident that he's going to, bust loose here and get going making shots. He hasn't made very many in the last week or 10 days. And I attribute a lot of that to what we're doing at the defensive end of the floor. We're doing a lot of defensive transition drills. We're doing a lot of half-court defensive drills, learning all those things. So now your mind's working. And as I talked about in terms of the process, we have to get through that part so guys can just play. And right now we're not quite there yet with him. He's working extremely hard, KL, and he's going to be a terrific player. Just a lot of learning going on right now.
Coach just had a bit of a long offseason. How pivotal is it for Ty to kind of get back in a groove as quickly as possible, and how much is he, looking to take that next step after a pretty significant
Yeah, after what we saw last year, he's an all-conference type guy, and that's important for us. That he's playing at that level. For what he did as a freshman in terms of rebounding is something, and just looking at the numbers and the charts and the history of it, hasn't been done by very many guys. And so to do that as a true freshman, we feel like we've got an all-conference guy there. And so him being healthy, he hasn't played a pickup game since the end of May. So how long that will take for him to get fully back to where he's capable of playing, the level he's capable of playing at, we'll have to see how long that takes. But we've got high expectations for him. He's got the same, and feel like coming out of last year that he's an all-conference type guy.
Coach, when Wyatt.
Do you anticipate Wyatt moving into a starting position in the backcourt with AJ, or do you like him better in that six-man role that he was in towards the end of last season?
Yeah, he's. We don't know yet. Some of that with Ty being out, with Austin being out. Guys that Ty had being a starter last year. Austin, we haven't seen him healthy yet in practice, but a guy that we would anticipate, being in that starting lineup, depending on how that shakes out. So I don't know yet. I do know this, that he's tremendous in that role last year at the end of the year, and would be a tremendous six-man. But he's worked so hard, and he's in such great shape, and he's playing so well right now that he'd be great in the starting lineup. So it's one of those things where we're either going to have 5 starters and Wyatt as a 6th starter, technically a 6-man, or Wyatt's going to be in the starting lineup. It's going to be one or the other.
kind of up in the air, and then Biggie, still getting integrated. How much or how big is it for somebody out of that Dahl McDonald group to emerge and give you some
Yeah, that's one of the things when you've got some guys that are out for one reason or another, like Ty is and Austin is right now, is you get an opportunity in this case for Luke and for Justin to be a bigger part of it and get more reps with what right now is that top group of guys, and we've seen some good things from both of them. Luke's skill level at that center position is something that can be very effective for us. And then, like I said, even though we haven't seen a lot of Justin yet, his size is by itself a difference maker. So, important for both those guys. But important, yes, but they're both redshirt juniors right now. And they both are highly motivated to get into the rotation in one way, shape, or form. So, yes, our team needs them, maybe to answer your question, but more importantly for me, those guys they've put in a lot of time. And as redshirt juniors, their opportunity is now to be able to earn some of that playing time and to have an impact on what we're doing.
Coach, you opened talking about the process of putting together a championship team with so many newcomers. What will it take to kind of offset that experience gap within your league and get to the top of the league? With that league poll that'll be released tomorrow, and a lot of teams that return a lot of players coming back.
Yeah, the league. There's a tremendous amount of experience in the league this year, and so I would tell you a couple of things. We have talked with the guys. A little bit each week, probably 2-3 times a week, that the lack of game experience is not going to be a hindrance to us moving forward. It's not going to be an excuse for us not to be ready when we start playing on November 6th. We've just got to work hard to fast forward that process. Facts are facts. And we don't have a lot of guys in terms of number of guys that have played game minutes, so it isn't about trying to trick them. But that process can be fast forwarded a little bit, and we're going to have to do that. And I think as we get healthy, we'll be able to do that some. We should be able to do that enough and move guys forward, and then there's going to have to be some. You have to learn on the fly a little bit too.
Where does Holden project as a starter, or is he one of those guys who's better for you coming off the bench?
Again, as I touched on, until we get everybody on the floor, don't know what that starting lineup's going to look like completely. Until Ty's back and Austin's back, and we've got everybody together, I don't know. Spencer not too different though than Wyatt. When I talk about Wyatt either being a starter or a sixth starter, Spencer's in that same conversation. He's played well enough for us. He was playing great, and then was out for about 3 weeks, and is back now. He's been back for 5 or 6 practices, and so whether he starts or comes off the bench, he's going to be heavily in the rotation.
Sure. Thoughts on how the non-conference schedule came together? Some road opportunities, some non-conference opportunities, or neutral floor opportunities.
Yeah, it's better this year. The road and neutral games is where most of it is at this year. We've got a couple very good home games, Grand Canyon being one of them. They've got what should be a tremendous team coming in here. The University of North Dakota a couple days after that. So we've got a couple of the non-conference games at home. Last year we had a great home schedule. This year that part of it isn't as good. But we do have enough opportunities, neutral site and on the road. I mean, there's plenty of them. South Dakota State, I can start listing them. Iowa, of course, the Paradise Jam. I mean, they're at Utah State, at Texas Arlington, at Old Dominion. I mean, there is a bunch of them, a bunch of opportunities for us to put together a very good resume in the non-conference. They just happen to be, more of them happen to be neutral and on the road than they were a year ago. We fell into a great home schedule last year. I'd like to say yes, KL, that we could get some neutral site games against some of the Power Five, or just beyond that to the Big East or the American, that we could get some of those games, and even in a neutral site game. I don't know that those are going to be available to us. We've always looked for some of these, but I think our discussions have centered more around home and homes with Grand Canyon, teams in the Atlantic 10, teams in the Conference USA, some of those types of home and homes. We've done with VCU, we've done with Richmond, Grand Canyon that I mentioned this year. Trying to put together some more of those, either home and homes or even as 4-year deals, and get some of them locked in. Go back far enough, and you've got a game with Iowa, you've got a game with Iowa State, you've got a bracket buster game, you've got 3 games of your 9 already done for you. As we look ahead to next year, when we start next year, we've got 0 in terms of being done for us. Already built into the schedule, maybe is a better way to put it. So those are the ones that I think, finding teams that, Buffalo's another good example. South Dakota State on the neutral court this year, teams in a similar situation that have a hard time getting games. And for sure getting games in your home arena. That's where we're going to see if we can't start and get 3, 4, 5 of our games, knocked out that way.
After the success of Loyola in the Final Four, You guys auditioning at Team None?
Would Jersey count? All right, thanks again for coming up.